and today we're going to be getting updates from Fire and Emergency and Police. We'll then also hear from the Minister and the Mayors of Christchurch City and Selwyn. Just by way of introductions of who is here, obviously Minister Mark Mitchell, Vanessa Wennick, the MP for Banks Peninsula, Mayor Phil Major, Mayor Sam Brewerton, Brad Moseby, and Ash Tabb from the police. We will take questions at the end, and FENS and police will not be available for interviews after that because of operational requirements. They have to go elsewhere, but the Minister and Mayors will be available. Just very briefly, by way of introduction from me, as you know, shortly after 2 p.m. yesterday, a fire started on Worsley Spur. Civil Defence emergency declared at 6:13 in support of FENS and police. Response and recovery from an emergency event like this is very much a team effort, and so that's why you'll be hearing from those leading the recovery. I'd like to acknowledge those affected, and I'd also particularly like to acknowledge all those who are also affected by the 2017 fire, which is in a similar area and in a wider area, and just reassure people that everything has been done that we possibly can to protect life and property. Without further ado, I'll hand over to Brad from Fire and Emergency New Zealand, and he will give you an update on the fire.
Morena koutou. Overnight there were no significant outbreaks of fire. The current size of the fire is around 630 hectares. That's a 12-kilometre perimeter. So we have 80 firefighters on the ground at the moment, and we already have 12 helicopters in the air. We're putting a retardant line up around with fixed wing aircraft this morning. We are aware wind gusts from the northwest will build from about lunchtime, so suppression will be key for us this morning. Fortunately, at this stage, we haven't lost any structures, thanks to the great efforts of our crews out there. The main fire is around Summit Road. Crews have successfully put a fire break in around Worsley Spur to Dyers Pass Road. So our approach today will be to hit the fire hard with the resources we have at hand already, including a concentrated air attack with 13 helicopters, 2 fixed-wing aircraft, and our commanders on the scene are all very, very experienced. They have a plan in place, and this will be actioned by both our career and volunteer firefighters that we have on scene today. It's too early to give assurances that we will have this fire controlled. So this will be assessed throughout the day, and we will keep our communities informed of our progress. I can give confidence to our communities that our crews will continue to work tirelessly alongside our partner agencies until this fire is contained and under control. I just want to take this opportunity to commend our firefighters, our officers, and our commanders for their efforts in this very challenging conditions, who have remained focused on keeping communities safe and protecting their properties. I also want to give credit to our helicopter crews for all their efforts, working professionally together to help us fight this fire. Fire and Emergency New Zealand, New Zealand Police and Civil Defence all came together yesterday and to work through what a declaration would look like. And that request was actioned swiftly by both the mayors of Christchurch and Selwyn, based on our recommendations. And I commend them for acting swiftly. Lastly from me, a big thank you to our communities for their cooperation by evacuating their properties that we believe were in harm's way. We understand the effects this will have on the people. Our crews and police take a measured approach when assessing whether an evacuation needs to happen. We don't take it lightly, and we have the best interests of you and your whānau, so please continue to work with us if we need further evacuations throughout the day. As soon as it is safe to do so, we will ensure we will get you back into your homes. Thank you, ngā mihi.
Good, Ash.
Morena koutou. In terms of the police role, our role is to support Fire and Emergency New Zealand as the lead agency. Our role in terms of the three aspects are to assist and run the evacuation process. That can be whether it's a full evacuation or getting community groups in affected areas to be ready to evacuate at short notice. Our staff have done a great job combined with Fire and Emergency to do a number of those last night. The second part of our role is in terms of cordons, is containing the area in terms of the firefighting area and also where residences have been evacuated. So we have some cordons in place to keep the community safe, but also to give Fire and Emergency the opportunity to do this without being interfered with. Further, we have staff in the area in terms of reassurance, getting police staff into those areas where houses have been evacuated or in near vicinities to just make sure there is a police presence there to help our community. The current issue we have found mainly is what I would call disaster tourists, people who are going into the area to have a look. They are making it very hard for all those involved in the firefighting. This includes trying to get equipment in, such as firefighting equipment or heavy earth moving equipment, getting in the way of that by blocking roads. Also, it includes those residents who are genuinely trying to get back to their houses to move stuff out, and they can't get to their own houses or get away because of people blocking the roads being sightseeing. So we encourage people to keep out of the way, to let the firefighters do their job, and also to get the affected community to be able to get into their area if required. It is a fluid operation, so we are ready in terms of staff to deploy in terms of evacuating other areas or providing further reassurance patrols or moving cordons as required. As you know, the tempo can change with a fire very quickly, and we have to be able to be agile with that. At that stage, I have nothing further to add.
Minister, would you like to?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Look, firstly, I wanted to say that we're very conscious of the fact that it was 7 years ago, almost to the day, that Christchurch had to deal with a similar event in the Port Hills. And I want to acknowledge the mayors and the entire team here who have recognised that very quickly and are communicating and meeting with the community. The police who are providing reassurance patrols on top of what they're doing with their cordon work as well. I just want to reiterate and support the comments made by the inspector. Please, people stay out of the area. Let the firefighters and the first responders do their job. That is critically important. And just on that note too, I do want to highlight the fact that we had a fire in Tasman recently where some brain surgeon decided to put a drone up. And I'm sending a very clear signal. Do not put drones up. Do not interfere with that scene, because number one, you put the pilots and those helicopters and those fixed wings in extreme danger, and number two, they actually have to ground the aircraft, and it interferes with the fighting of that fire. So anyone that thinks that they're going to put a drone up or interfere with our firefighters and first responders, those actions will be met with serious consequences. Can I acknowledge the mayors who acted quickly to establish a local state of emergency? That is important. Because it allowed police and other first responders to evacuate people out of their homes. I want to acknowledge FENS, the firefighters that responded extremely quickly, surged into the area with assets, both air and on the ground. And I just do want to highlight too that actually through that quick response, it appears that they have actually saved some households. So they have done an outstanding job. I'm quite simply here to provide support and see what additional support may be required from a central response going forward. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, I do want to acknowledge Richard and his team as well for how quickly everything has come together. That it is an outstanding team that is working hard to try and contain what obviously is a serious and difficult situation. So thank you.
Thank you, Minister. That's great. Phil, would you like to?
Thank you, everybody. My name's Phil. This is Sam from. Where are you from?
Selling.
One of the most important things is that we got together and created the declared the state of emergency because, as you can see, these guys know what they're doing. It's all very well for us to sit back. We're sitting in a building here. We've got the operations room next door. Everyone is together in the same place. We've got police, fire, St John's, we've got them all, and it is running extremely well. Far be it from us to get in the way. We open it up, we declare the state of emergency so that the people who know really what they're doing can have all the power to do what they do best.
Yeah, and we really want to say thank you to the Minister for being here and for local MPs and their support in this. Thank you to FENZ and to the police who have done an amazing job, but particularly to our civil defence staff who have coordinated this, and because of relationships pre-existing, because of previous things that we've been through, means that we're well prepared to work together to tackle this. We also want to acknowledge that while physically you can see the fire on the hills, this takes an emotional toll on people, and whether or not you're looking at the fire burning or you're thinking about your own friends and family, we want to acknowledge that. So please reach out to people that you know who might be affected by this, and if you need some help, don't do it alone, but connect in with others, friends and family.
And there's 2 evacuation centres set up, one in Selwyn, one in Christchurch, and they were set up more or less before we did the state of emergency. So all hand credit to them.
Yeah, and we'll just say that the fire too is not a respecter of boundaries, so Phil and I will continue to work together on this. The last fire that we had, 24 hours made a big difference, and so we're looking forward to this being brought under control today if possible, but we know that 24 hours last fire, things changed dramatically for the worse.
It
So
did, yeah.
Fingers crossed that the wind doesn't pick up and our crews can
The wind is
put
not
things
our
down.
friend.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Vanessa, do you want to add anything? So we'll take questions, and as we have questions, I'll invite FENZ and police and others to come up and respond to them.
Just curious to know, you're asking for photos 30 minutes before and after when the fire started. Are you treating it suspiciously?
I'll let
With any such matter as this, we do start an investigation jointly with Fire and Emergency New Zealand as to the cause of the fire. At this stage, we can't confirm what the cause is or any further information, but things such as photographs or any eyewitness accounts will provide that information that we can gather and then determine the cause and if there is any human involvement.
Do you know if the fire spread into the Christchurch Adventure Park overnight or not?
I'll leave that to be, but don't believe so. But.
No, and our fire crews on the scene took some preventative measures by removing the chairs, so working with the Adventure Park team up there, removing the chairs, keeping the ropes moving, just to ensure that we're protecting those assets. So at this stage, the fire hasn't gone into that area.
There's some suggestion the fire started in Overcut Forestry. Can you confirm that? Do you know where it started?
No, as police colleague just mentioned, we're still early stages of ascertaining how the fire started, and our fire investigators will be back on scene today to carry out that.
How many people have been evacuated? Enough 80 properties. Do we know how many people have...
Yeah, approximately 80 properties. There are some that have been fully evacuated. There are others that are basically ready to go. We're sort of using that sort of approach, just making sure people give a really good warning. There's been great communication through Fire and Emergency with the affected communities at meetings, and we'll have further of those today, just to let them know what the plans are going forward. Obviously, it's quite fluid, so the fire can change quite quickly, but at this stage, there's 80 households.
Do we know how many people were using the evacuation centres overnight?
I'm told there was none.
Obviously, there's been a lot of comparisons to the 2017 fires. Is there any sort of indication, obviously it's early days at this stage, but just sort of how it compared to how that sort of fire started and spread quickly to the current fire situation?
Yeah, as said, it's too early to ascertain how the fire started. Different fire conditions back then, so we're just treating this as a fire that, as it progresses, we're using the tactics that we need to deploy to tackle this current fire.
A lot of resources currently on the ground there, with the temperatures increasing, the wind picking up during the day. How far afield will resources come to support you?
Yeah, so we're working in the background here in our Region Coordination Centre to start planning for the next 12 to 24 hours. And we can utilise assets and our resources throughout the country. So we'll put the call into our National Coordination Centre and ask for any further resources that are needed.
The term disaster tourist was used just earlier. Is this something we're starting to see more of, especially with these sorts of big events?
Yeah.
It's a term we use just for people who basically want to go and have a look. I don't think it's been used any more or less. Probably the only difference is with social media, people are trying to get shots onto their social media accounts. We have plenty of footage there from other media forums. So we just, as I said, we're encouraging people not to come into the area just to have a look. It's really affecting these communities, and they need to have a chance to actually potentially get back to their houses. We need the firefighting equipment and gear getting in there, so we just need people out of the way.
Coordinating helicopters, 13 in the air, as well as 2 fixed-wing aircraft. How are you, in order to get fixed-wing aircraft in to bomb the fire, are you having to ground helicopters when they come in, or can they sort of all work around each other? How are you managing that?
Yeah, so we have subject matter experts that manage the air attack, so specialists in their fields, and they make those decisions around how we deploy those helicopters and fixed-wing aircrafts.
There's been some concern from schools in the area around whether they'd be open today. Is there any message from Ministry of Education or educators on that status?
At this point, no. We don't have an update, but we will leave that to the Ministry of Education. I just want to add a couple of things. First of all, the question was asked about whether it's spread into the adventure park. It is just on the boundaries of the adventure park. It hasn't spread into the heart of the adventure park as it did previously. So just clarify that. And also, just in relation to the 2017 fires, just like to acknowledge that there was a lot of lessons learnt from that, and I think we are seeing a different response.
Just in terms of radar and communication up the top of Port Hills, what preventive measures have been taken to stop the fire going to those locations? There's a lot of things used by airways and fins for communication and whatnot.
We are well aware of those very strategic assets, and FENS will be building those into their fire plans. We might just take one more question and then wrap it up.
There were a half dozen properties under extreme threat. What is the current situation there?
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, we haven't lost any houses overnight, which is full credit to our teams out there on the fire ground. Depending on the conditions today, it's about how we protect those structures. So we build fire lines around them and go into protection mode in regards to keeping those assets, safe. Yep.
How close is the fire? How close is the fire currently?
I couldn't give you those answers. I can, get those answers a bit later once I get another update from the incident ground. Yeah.